Everyone knows the spoiler series are based on the original Sweet 16 models. This car is no exception. This is the Light My Firebird, based on the custom Firebird from the Sweet 16. Just about the only difference is this one has an engine and no hood, and it has a different shaped windshield, and the spoiler in the back is just a little different so that it can qualify as a spoiler series. The paint is not in terrible shape, but it's still chipped up and scratched. It's a bit dirty, and the windshield's a little bit scratched, but it's in good shape. We don't have to replace it. We're going to put new wheels on it, polish the motor in the base. This one's already been taken apart. I'm going to assume someone changed the windshield at one point. So it's going to make this even easier. Suspension seems to be intact in the back. The front's a little loose, so we'll see how that works out. You can see it had a decal there, so this is the one that had the decal along the bottom. So we'll be replacing that on both sides, right here. We might put a number. You can see there was a number there at one time. Can't really tell on this side. But I think it's going to look great once we get this car restored. So let's get to it. Okay, this is the Light My Firebird, the one that had the screws already in it. We're not going to get so lucky with this one. We're going to have to change these wheels. They're pretty faded, no chrome left on them at all. The interior and the windshield are going to just pop right out. And I can't tell if that's a replacement or not. Looks like the firewall's loose. We'll have to snap that back in place after we get a bit of good clean. Windshield probably needs a little bit of polishing. We'll set that aside. The engine's already been tapped. Oh, engine's already been tapped, and there's a screw in it. So we're just going to take that screw out. That'll give me something to hold on to whenever I'm doing the polishing. Just that simple, y'all. Just got to make sure you got a hole in the bottom of the engine where the screw can go. See? Alright, we'll dip this in the stripper. Shouldn't take too long. Not much to it. Seems like the last couple of cars I've done have been blue or green. I think those must have been Hot Wheels' favorite, Mattel's favorite. Alright, gonna let that soak for a few hours till all the paint just rolls off. Okay, we got the Light My Firebird painted a beautiful Spectraplane purple. All nice and shiny. Came out really nice. We're gonna wipe this baby down. We're going to put some peel and stick decals on here. We got these from the Redline shop. They're peel and stick. So let's see if we can peel these bad boys. Alright, and what you do is you're supposed to put this one across the bottom of the car. Staticky. And you just ride right along the bottom of the door like that. Sometimes it'd rather stick to you than what you want it to stick to. I don't like to overlap the line myself. Just like that. Peel and stick from the red line shop. Normally when I put on a decal, I clear coat over it. In this case, we're not going to do it. We're going to go straight to assembly. So let's get all our parts together and we'll assemble this beautiful car. Okay, these wheels on this base are in pretty rough shape. So we're going to swap them out for some new ones that I got from the red line shop. And a lot of you probably know that you just want to try and get your fingers around that tire and squeeze and try to work it off that bearing. You don't want to rip that bearing off. If it won't come, let it go. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about hitting the camera there. You can also use your tool, stick it back behind there and wiggle it back and forth. Don't come. You can put a drop of oil back there on the bearing, which I have done with this, but that's no guarantee that it'll come off. So be very careful. You don't want to pop that bearing off. See, that one popped right off. If you have to, cut them off. Get you some nippers. They're cheap at Harbor Freight. If you don't have one near you, you can go to harborfreight.com. They will send you stuff that weighs 100 pounds for $6.95. That one's not coming off. I'm just bending the axle. We'll try one more time on these front tires. Come on. And I like to try and save these old wheels because sometimes you just don't know, you might need a wheel. And in certain instances, any kind of wheel will do. There we go, that one finally come off. Okay, we got all the wheels off. We're going to pop these new wheels on. What you do is you take the other end of your wheel tool there, stick it under the bearing. We're going to put these large wheels right on there. Oh, the axle popped up. We'll do it this way. Push the bearing out, slide the wheel on, and we'll come back with the tool in a second. Push that bearing out, slide that wheel on, get them all on there, and set. Stick that tool behind that bearing, push down, set that wheel tight. So you don't see no bearing sticking out. There we go. Brand new set of shoes, they like to say. Roll sweet. Okay, now let's go back to the body. We have our interior. I guess we should say, let's go back to the interior. Okay, if you look at this windshield, it has 2 pins on the bottom. One fits in each one of those holes. And you have to be very careful. This is an original windshield, and it can be very brittle. Yep. It's in that hole there, but it doesn't snap in place. But these interiors, the firewall just snaps over the interior of the car. Okay, we've got to put the motor in here. And I polished the engine up, wire wheeled it, And I put the screw in it. The screw is too long. We have to go with a shorter screw. So we'll take that one out. We'll set the motor, engine, whatever you want to call it, in there. And we'll get a shorter screw. Flip it over. I said shorter screw, but now that I look at this one, I don't think it was that short. Nope, that was too long too. Okay, we get a shorter screw. Stick it in there like that. Tighten it up. Get the motor centered and looking right. In the case of this one, this front part of the motor has to sit down in there like that. Okay, then we want to put the interior in. And you have to be careful because this interior, the windshield has a little post right there. See right there? Has to go through that hole. That post goes through that back. Make sure it looks good. This is an original interior. You can see it has gaps in it and everything. Try not to push up on the glass or the interior. It's very easy because there's no top on this car. Line up your pegs. Make sure your car's paint is cured at this point, because if you don't, you're going to leave an imprint on it. Okay, in this case we have to have a shorter screw in the front. Get that back in nice and tight, but don't tighten it too much because this part right here is kind of thin and you'll pull it up in there. And there we have it. The Hot Wheels 1970 Spoiler Series Light My Firebird. She's been beautifully restored. Fresh decals, fresh paint, cleaned up, fresh set of wheels, and she's ready for the showcase.